Hello, World of Tank Blitzers, and hopefully a few future mumrads. Hey, I'm Littlefinger doing a full tank review on the BDR. This is a French Tier 5 heavy tank. You can see it here in the garage. It has some nice curves. Nothing really stands out exceptionally well with this tank, but for some strange reason, I really like it. You look at the front here, we've got some nice sloped armor. Obviously, we've got a large commander's hatch, which is a huge weak spot. Even the backside of this tank is rounded quite nicely, which does provide you more bounces than you would think in this tank. Let's take a look quickly at the tech tree here. And after the BDR, we're going to work our way up to the ARL 44, and then we're going to start getting into the autoloaders, which eventually ends up with the AMX 50B. And obviously, these guys drop some serious firepower with 3 or 4 shell autoloaders with a really long reload time in the neighborhood of 25-30 seconds. So you pump out a few shells, and then you hide and wait for a very long reload. Looking at the characteristics, you'll see here, again, nothing really stands out in my opinion. You'll obviously want to work your way up. You see our standard gun here is 75 millimeters, only 74 mil of pen. The next gun up does jump up to 100 mil of pen, which is workable. And then we will increase our turret and get ourselves up to the 90 millimeter here, which has 135 mils of pen and also does 225 damage per shot. Aim time and dispersion are nothing great. The armor here, you can see frontal armor 80 millimeters. And like I said, there's just nothing about this tank that stands out. But if I pull up my record in this tank, I've played 106 battles, 75% win rate, hit ratio over 80%, which is great. I'm doing over 1,200 damage, killing over 2 tanks per battle. It just plays much better than it looks on paper, if you ask me. Taking a quick look at consumables and how I have it set up, running repair kit, multi-purpose, and adrenaline, running hot coffee, protective kit, and improved fuel. Ammunition, 27 rounds is more than enough AP. I've thrown in a few rounds of APCR. You don't need that too often, and remember, you can purchase that with credits using the shell price button, and then a few rounds of HE. As far as equipment goes on this tank, I am running the gun rammer to get our rate of fire up to 6.7 rounds per minute. Like I said before, our penetration number of 135 is really good already, so not much need there to increase the penetration numbers. Therefore, using the gun rammer. Improved modules. I have been using the defense system on this tank, so it seems to be working pretty well. And then adding 7% to our view range gets us up to 256 meters. I am also running the enhanced gun lane drive, which drops our aim time down to 4.5 seconds. That aim time there at 5 seconds is pretty long. Now, again, with a Tier 5 tank, I would not recommend spending much more in the way of spare parts unless this is a tank that's your go-to Tier 5 tank and you just really enjoy playing it. In which case, I would recommend the enhanced armor, 4% to your turret, and then improved control. Going to get your traverse speed up to 36. I feel like the horsepower is pretty good on this, and probably could use a little bit more on the traverse speeds. If you are just way too wealthy with spare parts and you want to waste them, go with the vertical stabilizer, enhanced tracks, and consumable delivery system. Alright guys, so I have blitzstars.com pulled up using the tank compare section. I've got the BDR on the left. And KV1, T1, VK3001H, Churchill, and T14. So we look at damage per minute, and keep in mind this is without any equipment on any of these tanks. Oh, correct that. Now it is. Damage per minute, 1420. We are well below these other ones, very close to the VK3001, but bottom of class. Our penetration number, however, is quite good. We are in the middle there, certainly better than the KV and T1. Our alpha, however, 225 per shot is best in class. But because we have such a slow rate of fire, long reload, we are only doing the 1420 damage per minute. But again, that's just an on-paper statistic. Aim time, 2.08, is right in line with the rest of these tanks. Only the KV1 is much higher. Dispersion of 0.36, again, right in the middle. Dispersion on movement, 0.25, is right in line with the rest of these tanks. It's probably a little bit on the high side. Gun depression of 8 degrees is workable, but again, it's not the 4% of the Churchill, and it's not the 10% of the T1. So, moving on to movement and mobility. We've got 32 kilometers per hour as our top speed. Slightly on the slow side to some of these other heavies, a little bit faster than the Churchill. Our power to weight ratio is 13.27. Again, right in the middle. Our terrain resistance is actually the worst in class. So again, not exactly great on movement and mobility either. Our credit coefficient of 145 is close to the top there. The T14 is a premium tank, so obviously that's going to be a little bit higher. View range of 243, again, right in the middle. We do have a fairly high hit point pool of 780. Only the Churchill is higher. Our weight is 37 tons. And our hull armor, again, kind of right in the middle here, 60 millimeters. It's not the 50 of the VK. And the turret armor, again, 80 millimeters, is towards the bottom. So why is it that this tank plays better? I just don't know. It's just a tank that I enjoy playing. So anyway, let's take a look here. Win rate 57, average damage 844, damage ratio 1.47, average kills 1. So keep these in mind when you're playing this tank and try to get them up there. So here's our first game on Desert Sands, bottom tier. This is a supremacy game, and they've got a fair amount of medium and light tanks. So my thought process here is let's go support our mediums. Let's not let them get slaughtered over there alone. And you can see already they've been spotted up. I'm spotted too, so we're going to get down low underneath these mounds. A little bit of protection. You can see that Leo there going straight through the middle. So not all of their lights and mediums went that way, which allows me to go back over the railroad tracks here, and you saw the KV took care of that Leo, no problem. And we drop a shot in on the Churchill there. And so this is one of the things with this tank is this long reload time. Well, not the long aim time here. So we'll make sure that I am stopped a few seconds before the reload so that when we're loaded and ready to shoot, our aim is ready. So we are now up a tank, and I'm going to just go into the middle here and kind of just try to hold this area. Obviously, we don't have a base capped yet. There's the Leo, and we will drop and just try to stay faced to him, see if we can't bounce a few of his shots. And we didn't do too bad there. About half of his shots landed. and he is not going to have the speed to run away from us. So we got our first kill, and most of their tanks here are in the desert, obviously. What's nice about this tank, you saw that 228, that's just like an average roll for this tank. We're going to come up against the jumbo here. 216 into the side. This guy does have some good armor, so if he turns towards me, I'm going to want to switch over, but we're still able to get into the side. But just in case here, got the APCR loaded. We got to the side, so I switch it back to AP and get that shot in. We've only got 51 hit points left. Hellcat is just on the other side of the railroad track. Going to be real patient here, let this aim go all the way in and snap that shot in right before he gets too low. And at this point, there's just one more left. Figure the guy's AFK, so we're going to speed it up here a little bit over these mounds at about 30, 35 kilometers per hour. And he should be in this area. Sure enough, there he is. Wait on the aim time, 251. We'll just close on in while we're reloading. And we don't even have to aim at this point in time. Figured I might lose 50 hit points if I rammed him. But go ahead and finish off for kill number 3. So this was a game as a heavy. We're in the middle of the map. We did 28, 68 damage, 3 kills, good enough for a mastery badge. 14 shots landed, and you can just see that the tank pumps out the damage. So here's a second game as bottom tier on Rockfield. You can see we got a KV2, couple mediums, couple lights. Assuming that everyone's going to push left. But I see the guy there headed to the middle. KV is going right. And now they've regrouped and they're all going left. The Leo is spotted, and I snapshot that before he drops off the hill and miss. So I'm kind of torn right now, and the reason I'm kind of showing this game is that it's more of a lesson in what not to do. Obviously, this team is splitting up, which means those mediums and lights down there are going to get pushed on real hard and probably won't survive too long by themselves because they are outnumbered. I got spotted on that hill, so I want to make sure I get off the hill, get down to more safety. And you can see our guys are just taking a beating at this point in time. It's a shame that that shot didn't go in. But so all of the guys that pushed left pushed a little bit too hard would be one of my takeaways from that. If you don't have the support behind you, looks like this MT25 is gone AFK. So obviously that doesn't help either. We'll come around, we'll take care of the Sentinel, and now we're just going to back around the corner here, hopefully looking for a little bit more safety. But obviously we are significantly outnumbered. Get a shot into the AMX, and now we're getting shot from behind. So I've got two choices here. We've got some one shots down here, so I figure I'm gonna go take that one. And you know, you can see I'm at the left edge of the map. I've got both those tanks are behind me and to the right, so I decide to push up a little bit, and for whatever reason that the tank behind me decides he's going to push all the way left as well. So now we've just split up again. Certainly not going to work out well for us. And here's another. I was going to switch over to HE, but somehow hit the APCR button. And then I stepped forward straight into 394 hit points from KV2. So, obviously another kind of advice, especially when you've got some big guns like KV2s or SU 152s or something like that. Make sure you know where they are before you just roll on out into the open. Those 400 hit points really could have come in handy. So now I just decide I'm just going to go ahead and push left. Get that shot into the KV-1S, and he misses the return fire. I am not sure what this last guy is doing, but I'm in a world of hurt here, and I'm not going to last long for sure. Got a KV-1 and 1S all coming at me. We managed to get a bounce there, but obviously that KV-1S is not going to. And a little frustrated at this guy who I don't know what he was doing all the way at the back of the map. I mean, I had all of those guys spotted. He could have been up on the ridge here taking shots at them. But, you know, that's the nature of the game lately. That's why I do these tank reviews. You can see a little bit of my frustration here. Trying to make you guys a little bit better. Map awareness is certainly key. You know, this was a game we could have come back from, I felt like. And obviously that's frustrating, but you know, when you have a player of this caliber who's just YOLOs into a KV-1S, who can't hit a shot to save his life, it makes winning a lot more challenging. But anyway, we did 1740 damage, 2 kills in that loss, and you can see not much help from this team. 87 from the T25. Yeah, 43. But you know, those are the guys that are watching this channel and trying to improve their game. Okay, so this game's Yamato Harbor, and we are top tier. You can see my platoon mate there called right, so I was gonna head right, and then we get an all left call, and I noticed Churchill's moving forward. The VK's headed left, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the heavies here. And we are gonna head left. Hopefully the guys that go right are gonna be a little bit cautious until we start getting some spots. You know, if you find yourself in that situation, don't be patient. Don't push too hard. But you can see 3 have already been spotted down here. So I quickly jumped down into the middle of the map, and look at this. 2 KVs right there. Luckily, I have this pile of rocks to hide behind, and I am just going to peek out and take my shot. Well, that was a horrible roll of 183 there. .226 is a little bit better. And so you can see I'm just loading and backing behind cover, kind of like a peekaboo. KV-1 on the right is a one-shot, and aimed a little bit too low there and didn't get any damage. Now I'm watching him back up on the reload, and I don't notice that wall there, and I shoot straight into the wall. Was willing to take a shot from him just because I thought I was going to get the kill shot in. Getting shot from behind, so it's time to push. So we'll finish off the KV. There's an M4 down here in front of me, so I'm going to keep pushing forward just so that I can get to a little bit of protection. If he aims at me, I can just back up and he won't have a shot at me. But we are going to go ahead and get another shot into him before he drops off of that hill. He is now a one-shot. We've got someone about to chase him. The Ram is headed to the right of me. There's a Chaffee there I just honestly, I'm not sure what is my best strategy. Where do I go? Where's the weakest point in their attack here? So we've got the Chinu and the M4, both one shots. So I decide I'm going to head that way. And the Excelsior comes across, and I really should have just waited for the Chinu here and taken him out. But I ended up taking a shot. He hits me in the tracks. We're reloaded, so we'll go ahead and finish him off here. And then just a little bit of bad driving on the Excelsior's part here. You can see here, if had he just stayed parallel to the Churchill, he would have been blocking me from being able to shoot him, but instead he pulled forward, had problems with his gun depression, so we finish him off. And now there is just one tank left, and you can see the 240 damage there. So I'm pulling up just so I don't have to worry about gun depression, but pulling behind the Chinu just so that I can take my shot and back up. And we don't get that last shot in, but we ended up with 3 kills, and we did 2669 damage, which was good enough for a mastery badge. So that's one of the things I really like about this tank, is it just pumps out the damage. 220, 240 a shot really adds up fast. Next game here is, again, top tier on Lost Temple. Gonna go ahead and push up to the temple. Great spot for this tank. Just over 30 kilometers per hour here. And I noticed that the wall is already down, so they've already pushed around. Sure enough, we've got a couple spots. And you can see how we do this. We just take our shot and pull right behind. Waited a little bit too long for that SU-85 there. But we're going to wait for our aim, take our shot, and miss it. That's okay. Hetzer's coming up. And it looks like he might... we'll take a shot at the KV and trade shots there. That probably wasn't the best decision. Probably should have aimed at that Hetzer and been able to take a shot at him without exposing myself to the KV. But you can see we're just being patient here, and this is what I'm talking about. We'll finish off the Hetzer there, and we didn't even risk getting shot. SU-85 took a shot there, so I can be patient and make sure we get that shot in this time. Now, this Leo has flanked around and is causing us some issues here, so I am going to drop down. Obviously, he's going to aim at the TD there. Finish him off. So he's on a reload now. We take a shot through the bamboo hut, and it goes in, and we finish him off. We are down a tank at this point, though. But that KV's a one-shot. That DW is a two-shot. M4 and I team up to finish him off. There's the AMX. We'll be real patient there with that aim time. Finish him off. And it's just the SU left. So we came in there with 3 kills. We did 2,054 damage. It was only a level 2. But it's a great spot for this tank for sure. Only 10 shots there. So the last game I'm going to show is on Port Bay. And this is something I should do much more often, is I actually call the direction here. You know, it's something you should start thinking about, and do it by looking at the strengths of your team and strengths of the other team. Figure out where they're going to be going and what works best for your team. So I go ahead and call left, and looks like the team's all cooperating. So that Leo's got to go. We got a shot into him. Leo's one of the more dangerous tier 5 tanks. It's always good to get them out early. And you can see this PZ-34 is in bad shape right now. So we're just going to push along this ridge line, just trying to angle, make it difficult for him to find a good shot in on us. There's the ram there. Obviously we got to get up on this hill before we can get our shot in. On the reload, Covenanter bounces all of his shots, and we can get our gun depression down just enough to make him a one-shot now. KV's right there, so I'm thinking, alright, I'll let them have this guy. Not sure how he is still alive, so we'll go ahead and finish him off. Looks like the Covenanter's down here, and oh, I really wanted to ram this guy. He's still shooting at me and not doing any damage, and he just managed to squeak by. Make sure I get that shot aimed in as he was going around the SU to finish him off. They've got a couple guys now in cap. You can see that's going up rather fast, so it's a priority over that VK over there. So we will work our way back up the hill here. Obviously it's slow going in a heavy. But we will get to the cap here and see that we've got a Cheney turned sideways. So I'm going to load HE and drop 300 hit points on him. So we are going to push in now. KV is turned sideways. We'll get that to aim in and take the kill shot. 3 kills now. Make sure we aim nice and low on the VK for kill number 4, and bounce that HE round and finish up with 4 kills, 1776 damage. So there you have my full tank review of the BDR. Like I said in the intro, nothing outside of the damage per shot stands out in this tank, but yet for some reason it plays like a really good tank in my opinion. You know, had some really big games there, can do a lot of damage. If you can stay alive and get in 10 to 15 shots, you're going to be close to 2,000 damage just about every game. So use some of those tips and tricks I talked about to hopefully win a few more games in this tank, and also just in general gameplay, map awareness type of stuff. So as always, guys, have fun out there, stay safe, and as always, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.